Obviously disappointed. Our defense was not very good today. And then offensively, we keep shooting 30% from the field. It's going to be hard to beat these kind of teams. Wasn't real happy with our defensive personality today. And that's something that usually puts me in a foul mood. I reminded our team of my third year here. I had a team full of freshmen and sophomores that weren't good enough yet, and we were getting ready to play a top 20 team in the country, Texas A&M, who had 4 pros on that team. And when that game ended, Daniel House makes a late 3 to give them a 6-point lead. And I think final score something like 54-46, somewhere right in there. And when that game ended, I was crushed. I was crushed because I couldn't ask a team to care more, play harder, be more disciplined than those kids were that day. And I felt like, and we shot 3% from the field. And yet I was as proud of that team as any team I've ever coached that day. But no surprise that 2 years later, those same guys set a school that same guy set a school record for wins, and the year after that group set another school record for wins, and obviously we went on that run. But just disappointed. Today I'm disappointed. After Tennessee, I was not. Today I am. And you can't play one of the top 5 teams in the country and not bring juice to the table. It's disappointed.
Frank, you mentioned against Tennessee some of those deflating plays, kind of the mirror image. You guys had it tied at 43 and then came out, turnover, dunk. Just did you try to rally the guys right there?
It's the point guard play again. You got a tie game. You're coming out of a timeout, and we can't. We just let them take it from us and go dunk the basketball. And our point guard play this year just hasn't been good enough. I mean, I'm not. I hate referring to the play of certain players, like, because you guys know who plays a spot as not being good enough. I don't like saying that, but that's as honest as I can be without there's a disconnect at the point guard spot with our structure and with the disciplines that you got to have to play it. And some of it is youth, some of it is just frustrating to deal with.
Frank, you mentioned the deflating plays after Tennessee and then losing some of that defensive identity today. How frustrating is that for you 23 games into a season to have that slip up?
But the deflating plays, so, in the second half, they make that run. I call timeout. I think they went from tie game, turnover, dunk, turnover 3 or something. Now it's a 5-point game. There's 3 straight possessions. Ty Washington went 1 for 2 from the line in between 3 bad offensive possessions for us. So they're up 5. I call timeout. And we're still fine. But we get a drive where we pull up in the paint and we just burp the ball up there. We don't shoot it. We just burp it. Like, quick, just throw it up there, miss. They come down. Sheboy ducks in. They throw it to him. He turns around and puts Wildens in the basket. Now we come down and Wildens ducks him in. And Wildens has him in the basket. Instead, he shoots that pirouette left-handed jump hook, which I have no idea what he was thinking there. And then we come down and we come off a pin-down screen, and we're right in front of the rim, and we shoot it and miss. Again, we didn't shoot. It was in between pass, shot, and miss. And Ty Washington comes down, and he's not a three-point shooter, and he jumps up and makes a hard 3. And those are the deflating plays I'm talking about. But that team I'm telling you about, my third year, they shot 23% from the field. They never went away. They never, and I was deflated. They weren't. And that's, when you got so many first-year guys, that's part of the journey, is understanding them. And I've never been through the season with 9 guys on my team. So I've got to understand some stuff there too. But but at the end of the day, man, as a competitor, I sign up for coaching. So it's my job to deal with the highs, the lows of a season. I can't complain about it. This is like a dear friend of mine named Bob Huggins told me, this is the life we've chosen. So I can't complain about transfers and NIL, and we've chosen this life. So why would I want to sit around and complain about the life I choose to live? But as a player, how can you not bring juice to the table? Like, how can you be a competitor and not bring that to the table? And that's why I'm a little disappointed today.
You were talking about the defense and being disappointed with the defense. What specifically were you seeing out there today that just you didn't like?
Our ball screen defense was embarrassingly bad, and our transition defense, Oscar outran us 3 times down the floor for dunks. Like, how's that happen? He averages 15 rebounds a game, so obviously he's not leaking. That makes sense what I'm saying? I mean, some guys leak. They act like they're going to go block a shot and they run down, so they get a breakaway dunk, and everyone's, your defense. Oh, we got caught with a guy that's cheating everything. But the dude's on the glass every single shot. So if he's on the glass, how does he outrun us down the court? But and then our ball screen defense was really bad. Really, really. It wasn't bad. It was really bad. And I probably should have gone a little bit more zone in the second half than I did. But that's the life I live in the rearview mirror when I go home tonight and I second guess everything I did. But that's what we do as coaches. Again, it's the life we've chosen. Be miserable.
Coach, you've mentioned several times just the juice, the lack of juice at this point in the season. Is it a point where you almost have to pick a guy out of all these first-year guys that you haven't been through a season with and say, I need you to set the tone for these guys for 40 minutes, as opposed to the guys on the floor looking around for someone to bring that juice to the floor to get everyone going?
Joe, we've had some guys that have been really, really good this year, and they've carried a big burden from a responsibility standpoint. Sometimes those guys need to be picked up. And that's where I'm coming from the juice. If you actually pay attention to the bench today, I didn't play a lot of guys. And I didn't play some guys a lot of minutes. And that's not something that I just kind of woke up today and said, I'm going to stop playing that guy. That's based on the last 2 days. That's based on our shoot-around today. Just a lack of enthusiasm for what we're doing. I don't comprehend that. I just don't comprehend that. Sometimes when your team is 5-20, like we were last year, or whatever we were, everybody wants the thing to end. That's not where we're at, and so I don't comprehend, that. Not from everybody, from some guys, and but it's my job to figure that one out. I've been pretty good in my career, with the exception of last year, and I think we talked about that enough. I'm not going backwards there. We'll figure it out.
Right here.
Frank, you mentioned Wildens. I know he had that one shot that you maybe didn't like, but it seemed like you got a little bit more from him, at least in the final stat sheet. I know you challenged him a good bit the last few weeks. Just when he does play that well, or at least gives you a little bit more like that, how does that maybe change what you guys are able to do as a team, and how does that maybe make up for a night when maybe Eric and James didn't shoot the ball as well?
Yeah, he played a lot better in the first half than the second half, but he has not played well in a month. Like, has not played well, period. Forget the scoring, just in anything. And so he and I had it wasn't a come to Jesus. It was a very direct, one-sided conversation from my side to him yesterday. And he came out and played a lot better in the first half. And then the second half, he kind of reverted a little bit to some of the struggles that he's been going through for the last 3 weeks or so. We need him to be a good player. The other big guys aren't helping us a whole lot right now, and so That's part of the responsibility that as players you sign up for. I love it when players, they get mad at coaches. Well, coach, don't play me. Okay, well, when they play you, then you don't want the responsibility that goes with winning and losing. And I'm not saying that's Wilden's, but that's the journey that some players go through. Because if you're going to play, you got to every day. You can't do it just when you're in a good mood or when things going your way. You got to do it every day. So it was good to see Wilden's play well in the first half. Now, hopefully he can use this to build, and as we come down the stretch here, get himself playing well for us again.
Kind of going off of that, Frank also got a good game out of Keyshawn when he's had some ups and downs this season. What's the key to him getting back to consistently being that player that you guys saw last year, and what does it do for the team, especially at the 4 position when he's able to produce like he does tonight?
Yeah, he didn't pick up 2 stupid fouls early in the game, so he was able to get a feel for the game and a flow. And and for the most part this year, he commits 2 fouls as soon as the game starts on bad plays. And I spoke to him about that at shoot-around today. I said, you got to stop with the reaching and fouling early in the game. Now you got to come sit, and then you got no feel for the game. And but he's practiced well for a while. I got no problems with Keyshawn in practice. We need him to play better in a game, and he obviously was really active today. He was aggressive. He was assertive. I played him. I don't know how many minutes he ended up playing. 35. I want to say I probably played him 8 minutes of that out on the perimeter as a guard, and I hadn't done that all year this year, and actually did pretty good. So Keyshawn, I want him. He's going to get a degree from here in about 6-7 weeks or whatever it is. And if you would have told him he was getting a degree from a high major institution 4 years ago, he would have laughed at you, and so would everyone that knew him. So he's lining himself up to be very successful, and I want this to end the right way for him, because him and Jermaine have been through a long journey in their 4 years here. They deserve to finish this the right way.
Frank, you talk about the ups and downs as someone that has gone through it as a coach, and then you talk about the enthusiasm that you're looking from some players in particular. In years past, when you guys have hit that roadblock, you guys have had tremendous leaders be able to step up at times. Are guys like Keyshawn and Jermaine the first 2 that come to mind, or is there anyone else that in these moments that you kind of look to, and is that something that you do as a coach? You pull them aside, or will they kind of just take it upon themselves?
Yeah, I'm not big on assigning that responsibility to people. I think we all sign up for what we want. This is year 30. When you get old, 37, 38 for me. I've never showed up to a practice and sat down next to anybody. I go in there, and whether it's for an hour and a half or 3 hours, I bring everything I got every single day. And I've always enjoyed players that do that too. And that's why everyone says, why is he so hard? But yet all the players love it because I bring it just like I'm asking them to bring it. And there's 4 guys that there's 2 guys that from day one have been tremendous, Eric and James. Keyshawn and Jermaine over the last month have been really good again. From that standpoint, those 4 guys have to lead our team. There's no one else. It's those 4 guys. They have to lead our team. They're the oldest guys. They've all been through it. They have to deal with this moment, and they have to lead our team by. I almost said a word I didn't need to say there. It's one of those words that in today's day and age you get canceled if you say it. So I'm glad I caught myself. Me too. I say it in private, but I'm a crusty old what. I still kind of say some stuff that today's generation is offensive to everybody. Those 4 guys got to bring a mindset of the fact that we're not in a great place right now, but we're not in a bad place either. we got 6 straight games coming with all the teams that we're tied with in league play. You got to go figure that out. You got a chance to separate from that middle, to be at the head of the middle of the pack, for lack of better words. And then you have another, and some of those teams are really good teams. And then at the end of the season, you got a chance against the number 1 team in the country, in their building, which it is what it is. That's why you sign up to do this. And but those 4 guys have to lead our team. They have to be the voice, the strength, and the personality of our team as we come down the stretch here.
Auburn won't be number 1. When you
I'm
get
not
there.
answering your questions today, Phil.
Auburn won't be number 1.
You
when get
got
there.
a blue mask on your face.
I know that's.
I mean,
I was concerned
Phil,
about.
can you ever wear a Gamecock color in here?
I don't have anything in Gamecock.
I mean, you've lived here for
I'm
40
Gamecock-less.
years, and you're wearing blue on the day we got our tails kicked by Kentucky. You're killing me, Phil.
John's wearing blue.
Hey, no, that's North Carolina blue.
He's a Clemson guy, So you mentioned not bringing juice. You noticed it in practice. You noticed it some tonight, and you mentioned limiting some guys' playing time. I mean, are you sensing some give up, some quit in some guys, or it's something else?
I hope not. Ask me that question in about 4 or 5 days, and I can have a better answer for you, because we had no give up leading into the Tennessee game. We had great practices and great enthusiasm. We got our feelings hurt after the second half of the Tennessee game. And we, as a coaching staff, we chose to not come in here and bury these guys because they've been good all year. And it's not like we went out there today and stunk. I mean, we played a pretty darn good team. I mean, I think Tennessee's really good defensively. These guys put 107 on Tennessee. And so it's not like we played, at some school that's 0-56. But we didn't have the resolve that we needed today. And I'm not one of those guys that when your team does not play with an identity that it's fought to create, I get worried about that. That making shots, missing shots, that determines who wins and loses. If you don't have an identity that you play with every time you take the court, that's a problem. And we didn't have that today. That's what bothers me. That's why I'm disappointed. That's why I shared with you the Texas A&M story. That team wasn't good enough for that day. But them kids had a personality that they're going to fight for. And we were losing at the time. Unlike this year, where, we're not 19-3 like Kentucky, but we're right there. And so that's the part that's disappointing. So were our feelings still hurt because of the second half of the Tennessee game? I don't know. I thought they were on Sunday. I thought yesterday X and O-wise, we practiced okay, but I didn't think we had much of a voice in practice. It was a very quiet practice. And I get concerned. When I hear myself in practice, I get concerned. I like hearing other people's voices, not mine, in practice. And yesterday I heard my voice way too much.
Frank, if the Cards were to deal themselves the right way, and you would have to continue to play with a short bench, are you comfortable with that, with the remaining 7 games, and is that sustainable?
I play guys that deserve to get in the game, and I maybe I'm stupid for how I think sometimes, but it's the way life has taught me. If I don't show up and do my job tomorrow, they're going to fire me. If you decide to take a day off, they're going to fire you. It's my job to teach these players that that's life, man. You got to show up every day to work and be excited about what you do. You sign up for it. Nobody grabbed these guys and said, hey, you're forced to play college basketball. They chose to sign the scholarship. They chose to take this on. So we have to, we as coaches, it's important that we educate these young men to understand that that's the way life works. And, Sindarius, he made a decision to go overseas. that took a lot of courage. The easy thing would have been to sign another two-way contract. And he said, no, I got to go overseas because I got to regain my personality on the basketball court. So I'm going to separate from my family, and I'm going to go bust my rear end over there, which he's doing, so I can regain my edge as a basketball player. That's exactly what he's doing. That's what you have to do. And if you want to move forward in life. And, so that's why I told Phil what I said. This next week is going to tell me, actually not even a week, the next 3-4 days, regardless of winning and losing games, it's going to tell me a lot about our team and how we're going to be able to finish this year off. I don't know if I answered your question, but,
Anything else for Coach Guys? Thank you.
all right, fellas.